advertised on January 16, 2015, out of the notice was sent to the Star Ledger, promptly posted on the municipal public bulletin board, and filed in the office of municipal clerk and form of public time and place according to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law, Chapter 231, PL 1975. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming this evening.
Evening, Mayor.
Okay, first order of business, presentation of a proclamation of the family of John Thomas Houghton. And also I would ask right after that, after the presentation of the proclamation, I would like to honor a request of the Garwood Police Department to everyone proceed to the parking lot for a presentation. They assure me it's going to be short and won't be in the cold too long. Before we make the presentation, I'd like to make a speech on behalf of myself. When asked about the proclamation for Officer Houghton, I said it would be my honor and privilege to do so. It brought back some emotional memories to my heart. This will bring closure to some things that were in my heart at that time. At the time of the accident, I was the police commissioner. It was a trying time in the borough. No family, friends, police department, or council members, and citizens of the borough should experience all that emotional strife and heartache. I do not know Tommy Houghton personally, but his professionalism was well known by all. I had the privilege firsthand to see Tommy in action. I went on a night tour with Tommy one evening, about 12:45 a.m. A couple of men approached our vehicle. Tommy said to me, "Be still, Mayor, be calm," as he put his service revolver on this center console. He diffused the situation without any incident, and the young men proceeded to go away. And Tommy, once I said, Tommy did it very professionally and well done. So after my little speech, I'd like to make the presentation on proclamation. Few minutes back on the agenda. We'll start with Ken Capobianco, Director of Office of Emergency Management. Ken, please step forward.
Mr. Mayor, council members, I'd like to start by saying thank you for this opportunity to serve the borough. I can report that the emergency management plan has been submitted to the state. We're waiting the final approval, but we received verbal approval for everything that's in the plan. Many of you know, many of you don't know, the plan is a outline of what goes on in case there is a true emergency in the borough, i.e. Sandy, Superstorm Sandy, something like that, a major fire, a chemical spill, anything like that, train derailment. So we have a basic plan which to follow. And I want to thank all the department heads because what happened was when I took over, there were some gaps in the plan, so we rewrote the whole plan. So from beginning to end, it's new. It takes into account a lot of the changes that have happened in the borough the last few years, especially with some of the new construction, which is important too. There's the elderly home on 2nd Avenue that needed to be put into it. That's in it. So there's a plan for everyone to follow, really only in the worst emergencies. Normal emergencies are handled by the DPW, the police department, the regular people that are working here all the time for everyone. My job is to come in when there's a catastrophe and make sure that all the paperwork is followed, that the plan is followed, and that everyone has some guidance in what has to be done. So I trust in all the department heads. I've met with most of them. They're all good people, they're knowledgeable, and they have a much better knowledge of some of the intricacies than I do. So, but I wanted to say that everything's working good. I'm sorry for the bit of a delay, but through a couple things, rewriting the plan was pretty extensive, and with a small problem that I had, there were some delays. But I want to say thank you all, and everything is moving forward.
Thank you. Ken, if you,
yes,
I just have one question of you. I believe there's so many sections in this plan.
Yes.
How many are there?
There are from A to Q. There's a basic plan, and then there is from A to Q, which are annexes, and each annex takes a specific thing, i.e. if there is a radiological problem, if there is a chemical spill, each annex handles each one of these different major issues inside of any kind of other thing that would happen. If it's just like a hurricane where there's flooding and stuff like that is one thing, but if there was a specific issue, if a train derailed and there was a chemical spill on the train, there's an annex that covers that. People can open it up and know exactly what they need to do.
Any other questions of Frank?
Just a couple of thanks. Thanks for finally completing this, because this has been long overdue, so I greatly appreciate your work. A couple of things. You mentioned you submitted it to the state, so I assume the county then has already signed off?
Yeah, the county, I met with the county. They actually take it on our behalf and forward it to the state.
Okay.
So the county, when we met and went over everything in the plan, got the initial approval from the county, and then the county emergency management then transfers it to the state electronically. And that was one of the issues also. The state prefers to have it in electronic format, so in order to do that, it really had to be retyped in an electronic format and resubmitted. So it all worked out. It just took a little longer than I was expecting it to, but it was a lot of work.
Yeah. When do you think the state will get the comments or approval back to us?
We should be hearing right around, right now. I spoke to the county within the last 2 weeks, and they were like, listen, everything's fine. We're just waiting for them to give us the official word. But they've been on the phone with them and emailing back and forth, and everything seems to be in order.
All right. I know it's a requirement to have, after it's adopted, it's supposed to be posted and placed in certain places. For a hall, obviously, the library, there might be someplace else. In the past, that wasn't done. If you can make sure after it gets adopted that a copy is placed in the appropriate places, we really appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Mayor, if I may just quickly. Ken, thank you very much. I know some of us up here have gone through a couple of OEM directors, so appreciate all your efforts. I know it's a lot of work. My question is similar to the council president about how public this information is, and I'm happy to hear it will be in those public locations, but in terms of complexes like we have the Point, next to that it's the Lofts, where there's the mixed-use building, and then with the new senior housing on Second, will those directors or management companies over there be informed of it so that they either know where to go or get a copy, as I'm sure they're affected maybe slightly differently?
Well, technically, they're responsible for forming their own plans of evacuation and things like that. So they should have, like if it's talking about the senior citizen, they should have a contract or agreements with companies that will come in and do the evacuation for them, especially if they're infirm people there and they know they're going to need it. But yeah, they can, I can meet with them. I was planning on meeting with them, with the people at the YMCA, because I had a few questions from some people from town about where they could go in an emergency. So we're going to try and formulate a plan where there will be some places where we can go. Technically, we can't provide a overnight housing and everything like that, according to the rules. So we have to be careful what we do with that. But overall, we're not going to leave anyone without help.
Of course.
We're going to do everything we can to help everyone.
Right.
So, but yeah, I can meet with them. Like I said, I was planning on meeting with the people at the Y to see if we can use that facility in an emergency for some. There's a couple of, there's a lady on Beach, I think, or Hazel, with a 6 little kids that she watches. So she wanted to know, she called me and wanted to know what she can do.
Right.
So I gave her 2 places where she can go, to the flagpole in the park or down to the YMCA.
Okay, wonderful.
But the actual individual places are responsible for having their own actual evacuation plans.
Okay, wonderful. I know that's extra hours, but it's definitely appreciated.
Yep.
And maybe if you wanted to have an informational session right here at Borough Hall so that they, all these different places, management companies and directors wanted to come here, maybe you could just give your little presentation,
That can be done.
you know, in a central location if that's easier. And then final question, how does the school factor into it at all, or does it not at all? They're
Again,
their
the
own
school-
separate.
The school has their own thing that they do. They'll move over to, I believe, the Westwood. All the kids will be evacuated out and going to the Westwood. And it also depends on what the actual issue is.
Right.
If it's a reason to evacuate the school, then they have the plan that they have. If there's just an emergency nearby, they might not have to evacuate. If there's whatever it could be, if there's some flooding that's on an adjacent street, they know what they need to do in case, but they don't have to do anything at that moment. So it would only be really if it was in the school and they needed to get the kids out. And then they have a plan where they're gonna come out and they're gonna go over to the Westwood parking lot and they're gonna muster there.
What I meant is more so the building itself and how that factored into the borough's plan, but I think you kind of answered that before, as we won't shelter here in the borough, they would have to go elsewhere, which I know it during Irene, we had some seniors go over to Cranford and they were very happy with the service provided over there, so thank you again.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Thank you. Mr. Renata?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't think I have anything that I need to report tonight. I'm going to have a brief executive session at some point before we get to the consent agenda, Mayor.
Okay.
Doesn't matter to me when you do it, just as long as we do it before the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Arian is absent this evening. Any unfinished business for the council? Any new business? Yes. I recently received notification in the mail to inform borough residents that the Union County, New Jersey Yellow Book will be distributed to residents during the first quarter 2016. I'd also like to remind residents that the Yellow Book is 100% recyclable. I would like to thank Councilwoman Tedesco for joining me at Mayor's Saturday on November 21st. We had 5 residents come to speak to us on various topics, including parking permits, North and South Avenue redevelopment in the village of Garwood. Thank you. This past Saturday, we also had a ribbon cutting for Kessler's Corner, a sports memorabilia business located to the right of Quick Check. The store deals with sports memorabilia and collectibles, as well as eBay sales. We wish Scott most success in his new venture and hope that this little corner of Garwood will bring smiles to sports fans and all of us. I am pleased to announce that during the regular meeting, I will be appointing 6 residents to various committees. We thank those new members for their commitment and dedication to these new committees. Last week, I attended the 100th Annual League of Municipalities Conference, the Foundation for a Bright Future. During the conference, I attended several seminars, including responsibility of municipal bodies, keeping citizens informed, and transportation fund solutions, among others. The seminars were very informative as I made connections with the presenters for future discussions on various topics. That's all I have. Okay, we'll continue on. Comments or matters for discussion, members of council? Councilwoman Carney.
No.
Thank you. Councilman Martin.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Councilman Matthews.
Nothing tonight, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Petroselli.
Yes, Mayor. I just want to bring up to everyone's attention that the Garwood Valley will be having an increase next year. I'm sure some people saw that already. And Steve Reed reached out to the mayor and the finance committee, and it looks like the increase next year is going to be about $58,000. So we asked them to come to the January meeting, so this way they could, meet the new council members, and if they had questions for them as well. So I just wanted to let everybody know about that.
Thank you. Councilwoman Tedesco.
Nothing, Mayor.
Council President Morstead.
Wow. I have 3 things, Mayor. First, I trust everybody, I trust everybody received in their packet the resolutions that some other municipalities have adopted regarding the Gateway Trans-Hudson Tunnel project. I would ask clerk to, if everyone agrees, that we place that on the next agenda for, to indicate our support. Everybody okay with that?
Do we have consensus? Okay, carry on.
Thank you, Kathleen. Update everyone, I have spoken once again to John Leon of New Jersey Transit about the Garwood train shelter. While I'm not holding my breath, because they've promised this to us for about 8 months now, he has promised me once again that New Jersey Transit is expecting delivery of a new, larger shelter for Garwood in the next 2 weeks. He assured me the installation will occur before the end of the year. I urge all commuters to be patient and hopefully will arrive soon. I also want to make a personal announcement. This Friday morning, November 27th, the day after Thanksgiving, a not-for-profit group called Friends of Colin is scheduled to hold their inaugural 5K turkey trot run at 10 a.m. in Dynamic Park. Participants are urged to arrive between 9 and 9:45 a.m. to register, obtain a bib and a shirt, and warm up for the run. There are two noteworthy items with this event. The first is that Colin is my nephew, who died at age 16 of Ewing sarcoma bone cancer. Friends of Colin is a 501c3 group composed of Colin's friends and neighbors who have raised, through an annual Easter egg hunt and concert in Cranford, over $25,000 for pediatric cancer research. Friends of Colin will not rest until a cure is found. The second item is that I believe this is the first 5K to be run almost entirely in Garwood. Chief Underhill has been extremely helpful from the very first meeting where he agreed to hold this event in Garwood. And I look forward to working with the Garwood Police Department and DPW this Friday as it is run. I urge everyone who's able to run or walk the trot this Friday to do so. For those who can't make it but wish to make a donation, you can bring a check this Friday, visit the Friends of Colin's website, or write a check to Friends of Colin and mail it to 365 Redwood Avenue in Cranford. Thank you, Mayor. That's it for my report.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on. Public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the mayor and council? Please step to the microphone, sign in, and state your full name and address. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. What a surprise. Nothing ever changes. Your 3 minutes started already, Bruce.
I'll sign it.
Yeah, I know.
But Bruce Pappas, 325 Willow Avenue. I sent you a letter about the planning board that was last Thursday, and I copied Bill Neerstead, but an issue came up, very disconcerting, about the executive session, and there was an ongoing argument for a few moments, but I mean, what was coming out of it was that the executive session minutes were not being taken, whether recorded or written. Now, this is the people's business doing, being held behind the closed doors in executive session, and all executive sessions get recorded by handwritten notes, according to the OPMA, Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey. It was not being done. I actually asked that question twice. The very final question I did say, is the executive session going to be handwritten notes or recorded? And the return was that no, they weren't going to be. Very disconcerting. It just makes the planning board liable for being sued and also fined. In that email, I sent you a copy of the OPMA area that talks about it. So, I mean, moving forward, outside of that, I was surprised. It was like I was the only voice of reason there, but, which is surprising. But moving forward, something needs to be put in place, if not in place already, as to what to do with executive session minutes, how it should be taken. If Adele, who was absent that night, if you can't do handwritten notes, maybe you should do the recording tonight, which Bob Scher was doing that night. But it has to be done in executive session. Notes of some sort. It's the people's business. So moving forward, please, I don't know if the council does something or the planning board does something, but it was very disconcerting. I'm very sad that this happened.
Bruce, just so you know, notes were taken, the minutes will be prepared.
Were notes taken?
Notes were taken,
Good.
the minutes will be prepared.
Okay, that I appreciate it. Actually, they have to be voted on to be released in public, and And I really rarely see anything on the agenda about that, so, you know, again, something should be,
My understanding, you're published after the issue is resolved.
but they have to be voted on.
Yes.
I mean, I've been in other executive sessions, and nothing was voted on. All right, it's good to hear something's moving forward, you know, in place, I hope. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? At this time, I'd like to present the proclamation. Any questions on the sister? Whereas on November 24th, 1995, Patrolman Thomas Howland succumbed to his injuries sustained due to a motor vehicle collision he suffered while in line of duty on November 21st, 1995. And whereas Patrolman Thomas Howland paid the ultimate sacrifice to the citizens of Garwood to which he served. And whereas his loss was felt throughout the community, the Union County, and the state of New Jersey, the law enforcement profession, but none more than the family and friends of Patrolman Thomas Howland. And whereas Patrolman Thomas Howland was employed by the Borough of Garwood from June 10, 1993 to November 24, 1995. Whereas Patrolman Thomas Howland served numerous honorable awards for his exceptional service and bravery, including the Honorable Service Award and the Medal of Valor. And whereas Patrolman Thomas Howland served with distinction on the Union County Emergency Response Team, USERT. And whereas Patrolman Thomas Howland is memorialized at the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C., that honors the service and sacrifice of America's fallen heroes in law enforcement. And his name is therefore etched on line 20, panel 14 on the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Wall. And whereas Patrolman Thomas Howland has an outstanding work ethic, he was an exceptional example to all of us. He thrived on community outreach and served the community of Garwood with dedication and pride as a model son, brother, and husband. And whereas November 24th, 2015 marks the 20th anniversary of his ultimate passing. Now, whereas I, Charles Lombardo, Mayor of Garwood, County of Union, State of New Jersey, along with the members of the Garwood Borough Council, do hereby proclaim November 24th, 2015, and each November 24th thereafter as Patrolman Thomas Howland Remembrance Day, and urge all employees and citizens of Garwood to celebrate our hero, Patrolman Thomas Howland, and honor the public servant he was to us. Tommy will never be forgotten and always be remembered. Adapted November 24th, 2015. Proven Charles Lombardo, Mayor of Garwood.
I'd just like to thank the Borough of Garwood. 22 years ago, a fresh face right out of the academy came to you, and you opened your hearts to him, and he loved you all for it. I don't want him to be remembered as a hero because of the way he died. I want to remember him as a hero because of the way he lived. And that goes for all our law enforcement. I can't thank you all enough, but I know Tommy's looking down with my parents who loved every one of you, looking down on all of us now, and he's proud. Thank you.
As I mentioned before, the thoughts about the parking lot for a short ceremony.